Hi everybody, my name is Nienke Vermeer.
Hello, my name is Ron Woldhuis.
Hello, I am Sarai Garcia Villa.
Welcome, my name is Charlie Casey Hayden.
Welcome, my name is Marvin.
Hi, my name is Bram Berkelmans.
Welcome, my name is Gladys Motahi.
Welcome, this is Olaf Koster.
Hi everybody, my name is Matthijs.
Welcome, I am Jantine van der Meij.
Hi, my name is Duco Bijleveld.
Welcome, my name is Marcel Rondeman.
Hello, my name is Daan Berghouwer.
Hi, my name is Lauren Pope.
And welcome to Wetskills. My name is Johan Oost. Today we celebrate the 45th Wetskills event in the last 10 years. It's the 7th one in the Netherlands and the 2nd in Leeuwarden. It's a special edition. In January 2020, Corona came in the world and affected us all. I'm not going to tell too much about that, but it's also affected Wetskills. Our calendar of 2020 is basically our, hopefully, calendar for 2021. But there's one exception, and that is our Wetskills that started last Sunday, 13th of September, in Leeuwarden. We set up a program that complied to the rules of our IVM. We started with a rope. I gave it to all of you, because this is 1.5 meters, and that is the society, the Wetskills Society of last time, where we were in. You can see in the picture, you can do much more with a rope. You will also see that in the movie. We use masks when needed, and also we had partly live and partly online our event. Like this finals, that's also partly live, with more than 40 people in the room, which is quite unique in Corona time, but on 1.5 meters. And there's also a live stream. For this, I really would like to thank the hosts, WaterCampus, a combination of Wetsus, the building where we are in now, and also the Water Alliance. It's so great, thanks, that we could be here in these special times. Thank you. About today's program, we will have the first hour dedicated to the finals of the Wetskills teams. We will hear what you came up with, 3 teams. And the second part, the second hour, is dedicated to the home isolation celebration of 10 years of Wetskills. It's our Jubilee year, and we will focus on the impact and the added value to our partners. Saying this, I would like to ask Hein Molenkamp to come to the stage, and I'm going to
follow the arrows.
Yes, follow the arrows. And
how do we do that with your rope now? Okay.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Thank you, and please tell us more about where we are.
Yeah, well, on behalf of Water Alliance and Wetsus, where we are in their house at the moment, and all the other organizations based at WaterCampus, I'll welcome you again, because we already saw most of you about 1.5 weeks ago when we started off in the other nice building, the old former church, Johannes de Doper Church, where we have our business center, where we kicked off. I'd like to start with a short introduction movie, if it's working. Yeah. Well, that's the shortest I could do to give you a little bit of an impression about WaterCampus, and I hope most of you already got a little bit of the atmosphere last couple of days and last week. It really is an inspiring place for us here to boost water technology solutions and bring it to the world. And there is really a remarkable number of organizations here, and not only at this place, but also in our network globally, to help bring new solutions to the market. And for me, today is also interesting. For myself, I have the idea, I have a global trip already done today. I started off 3 o'clock in the morning with a Korean webinar at Korea International Water Week, where of course also people have to go digital. And in the morning they had a session on World Water Cities Forum with also the city of Leeuwarden part of it. And well, the nice thing is that I'm still here and not had to travel to Korea, so it also has advantages, isn't it? But if I'm honest, then I say, well, it's not really the same thing anymore. So you really need to meet each other, and I think you will feel it the same here when you are really physically in this Wetskills arena this week. It's good to meet people in live situations. But from here you see on this picture that the WaterCampus has a huge network all around the globe, in fact. And well, it's also nice to see a lot of you coming from different places in the world in this Wetskills. I already introduced most of you to our water technology innovation ecosystem, which in fact this picture shows in fact all what we do here, and we focus on water technology, as you already have learned from us. So not the whole water cycle, not the whole water issue, but really on technologies to, well, what we say, process type of technologies where we are working on here. From a research, scientific research level, where Wetsus is the major organization in that, and all the way bringing those technologies to the market. It is really a tough road for most of the technologies. And I explained to you in the early last week that it will take most of the time, maybe more than 10 years before it's really a profitable and interesting new technology which you can bring to the market. But in fact, all of the positions you see here in this circle are amongst us here at WaterCampus. We have organizations set up around the whole introduction cycle of technologies, starting off with Wetsus as a research institute, scientific level, then a water application center, which is on the other side of the road at the Van Hal Institute, where companies can do individual tests with their technologies, and while scaling up you can even use so-called demo sites, and you have visited one of those demo sites at the Wetskills Water Board, where technologies can be tested and demonstrated at domestic wastewater treatment. And if you then enter the next phase, then you have to find your first launching customer, and that's also where Water Alliance comes in, as our organization is active in the market with companies who want to sell their equipment. And then, yeah, then you end up in meeting other organizations as well and try to get matches between companies where you can work with to sell your technology. Well, this WaterCampus, if you look it through the easy side, you could say there is a scientific leg, there is an applied research leg, and there is a business leg. That all is combined in this WaterCampus ecosystem. And it is a little bit a small picture there, but education is a very important part in that as well. So education from young age until PhD level, you can find it all here at WaterCampus. And many organizations where we work with are also lighted out here, and there's of course much more to say about that. Interesting to know is, and then we see it also back in your presentations, that water is a very enabling thing. It is not only there for drinking water production or wastewater treatment, but water technology is also used in almost everything you can think about. If it's in industry or in the agriculture or in chemical industries, water technology plays a major role in most of those sectors. And well, if we talk about SDGs, the SDGs 1 to, well, many, and then we most of the time say we are in SDG 6 with water, but in my opinion we are in much more SDGs. You can even, we read in the papers now about wars that going to be started because of a lack of water. So it is affecting most of the SDGs in the world. So, saying that, I again want to welcome you here at this beautiful Wetsus Building, as we call it, one of the buildings at WaterCampus. And we are very much looking forward to your pitches. And well, I'm also one of the jury members, so we have some jury live here, but we also have some jury watching the pitches from distance. But we will come back later to that, and I wish you best of luck in presenting your technologies to us. Yeah?
Thank you, Hein.
Jo.
I need to. Okay. I would like to continue with a short presentation about the introduction of Wetskills, but also what happened in Leeuwarden last 1.5 weeks. I am not going to do it myself. I would like to invite Charlie Casey Hayden as one of the supervisors. The other ones are actually Jantien van der Meij, maybe you can stand up, and Marcel Rompelman. So, thank you. Could you tell a bit more about what we did?
Yeah, of course. Now, good afternoon, everybody. So, my name is Charlie Casey Hayden. I am an advisor at Hoogheemraadschap Holland's Noorderkwartier. This time last year, or just over a year ago, I was a participant in South Korea in Wetskills, and I had such a great time. I enjoyed it so much that I wanted to become a member of the Wetskills family, and fortunately, Johan welcomed me in, and also the organisation I work for were willing to support me in my decision to become a programme officer for the Wetskills Foundation. So, as Johan has already touched on, we have had 862 participants complete 45 separate Wetskills programmes. They have taken place in 23 different countries all over the world, and overall there have been 202 separate cases that participants have worked together to work towards solutions for. 7 of these programs have taken part here in the Netherlands, 5 were in Amsterdam, and this is our second here in Leeuwarden. So, what is it about Wetskills that sets it apart? Well, as Albert Einstein said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. And that is where Wetskills comes into its own. So it's about stepping outside of your comfort zone, stepping outside of the box, taking a non-linear approach to working towards solutions. Many of the participants, I'm sure, will tell you that many of their thoughts took this route when they came to thinking about solutions for many of their cases. But it's incredibly scary stepping outside of that box, stepping outside of your comfort zone. You're stepping into unknown territory, unknown waters, and you don't know which challenges you're going to be facing or which hurdles you need to overcome. But this is far easier when you do this together as a team. So the Wetskills approach, this takes 3 fundamental ingredients. So it's a cocktail with these 3 ingredients, and it takes water challenges, young talent with bags and bags of enthusiasm, coupled with expertise and experience from universities and local water professionals. You put that together in a blender and you apply the pressure. And this event today, this is the pressure point now. What do you get at the end of all of that? You get great ideas, people, young professionals creating networks with one another, energizing the talents, and capacity development, all for the international water sector. So what do the guys get from Wetskills? What are the added values? Well, first and foremost, energizing and integrating the water professionals of the future, creating ideas in teams along with the case owners to come up with solutions together and potentially take another step forward to implement those solutions with What's Next. Input into professional water events that are carried out worldwide. Creating international networks, and these are breaking down the boundaries to enable us and to enable the participants to be able to come up with global water solutions together. And finally, positive personal PR, plus also the understanding and the fundamentals of communication, good communication and good effective communication. So finally, if it wasn't without the partners, I know Johan has already touched on this, but if it wasn't for the partners, then Wetskills wouldn't be what it is. So I'd just like to take this moment to say thank you very much to all the partners for allowing Wetskills-The Netherlands 2020 to go ahead this year. And to finish off, we will show you a video a bit more about what the participants have gotten up to and what the program entailed throughout the last 10 to 11 days. Does it press play on here?
There was a time when nothing would last. There was a time I held on to the past. You are my shepherd, you are my guide. I followed your dark nights right into the night. You are my savior, you took control. You came and touched my soul. But why are you still overshadowed by a doubt? Only you could see the love that carries me. I would walk on water just to be with you. Walk on water just to be with you. Split the ocean, cross the sea. Walk on water if you believe. I would walk on water just to be with you. Walk on water just to be with you. Split the ocean, cross the sea. Walk on water if you believe. I would walk on water just to be with you. Walk on water just to be with you. Split the ocean, cross the sea. Walk on water if you
Really go for it.
believe.
Very nice.
And then the double one, please.
Hello, I'm a scientist and I have been looking for the corona vaccine. Now we are going to go to my lab.
If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we would pop champagne and raise a toast to all of the queens who are fighting alone. Baby, you're not dancing on your own. Can't live without me, you wanna, but you can't. Nah. Think it's funny, but honey, can't run the show on your own. I can feel my body shake, there's only so much I can take. I'll show you how a real queen behaves. No damsel in distress, don't need to save me. Once I stop breathing fire, you can't take me. And you might think I'm weak without a sword, but if I had one, it'd be bigger than yours. If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we would pop champagne and raise a toast to all of the queens who are fighting alone. Baby, you're not dancing on your own. Disobey me, then baby, it's off with your head. Gonna change it and make it a world you won't forget. No damsel in distress, don't need to save me. Once I stop breathing fire, you can't take me. And you might think I'm weak without a sword, but I'm stronger than I ever was before. If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we would pop champagne and raise a toast to all of the queens who are fighting alone. Baby, you're not dancing on your own. In just a king can move one space at a time, but queens are free to go wherever they like. You get too close, you'll get a royalty high. So breathe it in to feel alive. All of the kings had their queens on the throne. We would pop champagne and raise a toast to all of the queens who are fighting alone. Baby, you're not dancing on
Yes. Well, and now the moment is there. The finals. Are you ready? Great. Well, we have 3 teams in this edition. Four different nationalities, all living in the Netherlands, by the way. We were here 11 days. We were working. We are going to present. We are also enjoying. We have some posters that can be visited afterwards. Still 1.5 meter, by the way. And now we will have the pitches. The rules. Well, we have a jury of 5 people. 3 are online, 2 are here in the room. I will introduce them later. But first, what are the criteria? Most important, out of the box. Second one, is it technically feasible? Third, economic attractivity. Is there a kind of business case behind it? Fourth, the social and environmental context. And last but not least, the quality of your pitch and the poster that the jury already got yesterday. Well, I would like to introduce the jury panel, starting with the chair, who is also going to award the winning team later on. Hein Molenkamp, you're there, you were already on the stage. Next to you, Johannes Boonstra. Could you shortly tell who you are?
Oh, yeah. I am a member of the board of Wetsus. I'm the managing director, so to speak. And what Wetsus is, you already heard. We organize cooperation in science between companies and universities for water treatment technology. So I'm very curious about your cases.
Thank you. And online, I hope we can hear them, see them. Yes. Mr. Henk Ovink, maybe you can shortly introduce yourself.
Very short. I'm a water envoy for the Kingdom of the Netherlands. I'll do a little talk, but I'm very curious to see and hear all the presentations. I look to the posters. And this is luckily not my first Wetskills experience or jury. So I really look forward. Thanks, Johan.
Thank you, Henk. Henk is also our ambassador. And later today you will have a keynote in the second part of the program. Then, Ottawa. Maybe we can see Ottawa.
Hello, everyone. My name is Odwen Zigamtembu. I'm a young scientist registered in South Africa, working for the Department of Water, specializing in groundwater and climate change.
Welcome, Ottawa. Ottawa is also part of our Wetskills team, focusing on South Africa, and he did the winning pitch of 2 years ago, right? You still can dream it?
Yes, I wish I was there.
Great. And last but not least, Caroline Groteboer. She's from Royal Haskoning DSV. Yes. Welcome.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, well, I'm Caroline, and as Johan already said, I'm from Royal Haskoning DAV, and I'm managing director of our drinking water department. And I'm very, very curious, and I enjoyed your movie very much. Wanted to be part of that from my desk here.
Okay. Thank you, Caroline. Well, last but not least, the teams will come to the stage in a random order. Every team member, small introduction, name and where you're working or studying. One of you is doing the pitch, and the jury has time afterwards to have 2 to 4 questions. And maybe the online device will work as well, but let's see. Okay, well, I already decided, well, I made the order. And team number 2 is the first team. So welcome to the stage, team number 2. Keep the distance. Yes.
Hello.
Okay. can I start with you?
Hello, my name is Daan Berghuis and I study at Finals in Belgium and I work by the waterboard Stichting Nederland.
Hello, my name is Gladys Motahi. I'm a master student at Wetsus Academy and I'm happy to be here.
Hi everyone, I'm Olaf Koster. I'm a recent graduate from Wageningen University.
I'm Duco Bijleveld. I've been a high school teacher.
Yes, start when you want.
This is a plant. A plant needs 3 items to grow. It needs sunlight, air, and water. We don't want too much water or a drought. In Friesland, we know what to do when there's too much water. We drain it to the sea. But we don't know what to do when there's a drought yet. A few years ago, the drought problem started, and with climate change, we expect in the next 100 years that there will be longer dry periods. Well, not only farmers need water, we all need water to grow a plant. Well, let's have a look. Is this problem unique to Friesland, or are there other regions facing similar problems? Well, yes, there are other regions facing similar problems. And our team created a menu of solutions, and a menu of solutions and solutions for the drought problem. And people can choose, according to their preference, the right solution. And we created this menu to create a common language, to engage stakeholders, and to inspire you. Sorry, I'm just a little bit nervous, but so we are very enthusiastic about our product, we have a menu similar to a restaurant. We start with the starter, and the starter is like a quick and easy solution which you can have for a low cost, such as an awareness campaign or rainwater storage. Second, we have a main course. I'm just going to finish up. A main course, which is a long-term, large-scale solution for a higher cost, and that could be a land use change or new farming models. And third, we have a dessert, an attractive-looking solution, such as a decentralized water network or a similar. So I just want to finish. So please join us. Walk in and make a reservation at MetaFood. And with you, we want to find the right solution for the drought problem. So together we can save this plant.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, relax.
Yeah.
Your team members can also answer the questions. Huh? So, jury, who would like to have, who can I give the floor? Also online?
I have a question.
Oh,
yeah.
Henk.
I'm not sure if that works. Does it work?
Yeah, we hear you.
So with the menu, it's always that you eat all courses. And that is how you design a menu as a chef. So perhaps, since that was not so clear in the presentation, you can tell us a little bit on the sequence of steps of the menu. Why it is so important that you designed this sequence. Yeah? For a chef, because I'm a chef, it's very important that one comes after second, comes after third. Yeah? Otherwise, your taste is, it's lost. So tell us a little bit about this sequence.
Okay.
Yeah, I can answer that. When we thought about how to best put all these big creative ideas into one area, we used a menu. And we divided it as a starter, main course, and dessert. So what we start with first possibly is a starter. Most people tend to look at the starter first in the menu. So that's a low cost, a quick win initiative. After that has been implemented, you can go on to the main course, which is a more high cost, a more resilient, larger scale approach, and that comes next. And at the end, not everyone prefers to eat a dessert. So sometimes we could say, why don't we increase it a little bit further with a dessert, which has more of a eye-catching appeal for all the stakeholders, not just for specific one stakeholder.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, very good answer. Thank you. It's
Thank
helpful.
you.
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me? Can I ask my question?
Yes.
Okay. With a menu, I can also imagine there are some people who are allergic and other people prefer very sweet stuff. So if you compare that to the water management, I can imagine that you are talking about preferences, but I think not all the menu items are applicable to all regions or companies. So can you tell us something about the criteria you embedded in your menu that you can use to decide which course is the best for me, for instance?
Thank you, Caroline, for the question. And when we were making the menu, we also discussed about allergies and the replicability of our solution. And given our international background, we were able to look into international scenarios and what they've done and what can specifically work for the Netherlands, and especially for the southeast Friesland, where there's slopey, sandy areas. So in terms of the allergy, we've said for further implementation of the solutions, we need to do further research in terms of how high is this area and what is the available land area. So those are some of the critical factors that need to be considered before implementing any of the solutions depending on the situation. And we, as the first speaker said, we preferred a combinational model, not just a one-size-fits-all, depending on the situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. One last question, Johannes?
Yeah, well, my question was in the same order of magnitude, so to speak. It would be nice to have a suggestion of the chef what the best menu would be, but like you said, you need further research. And when I looked at all the courses, like in what happens in restaurants with me, I sometimes like to switch dessert for main course. Because there's a dessert, increase organic matter in the soil, that is a dessert, but why do you think that is not a main course? Because it's easy, but also a big change.
Okay, I will try to answer the question. So when we were thinking about increasing the organic matter, we felt like the sandy soil is the main cause of the water infiltrating too fast into the sea. So if we can do a back mixing of some sort in the low areas and the high areas, so we have a complete mixture of soils, then we could partly solve the drought issue. But also the other activities that could be done towards increasing soil organic matter, like investing in sponges, like making the land look like a sponge. It soaks up water, and then when it's needed, it's released. So that could maybe be a main dish, but as at now, we felt like removing the whole sand soil wouldn't make for main dish, would be a dessert for us.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Give a big hand of applause to team number 2. Team number 2 with, you can sit down please. Team number 2 with case owner Wetskills Friesland. The next team is team of the province of Friesland, team number 3. Please, welcome to the stage. please.
Hey everyone, my name is Marvin Uma. I'm a master's student at Wetsus Academy here.
Hi, my name is Lauren Pope. I'm an advisor at Stichting Waste.
Hi, my name is Bram Berkelmans. I work for Elemental Water Makers. Imagine yourself being on an island. Wind through your hair, sun on your skin, cycling around, and suddenly you feel thirsty. A lot of seawater around you, but none in your bottle to drink. This is how some dry summer days could evolve in the future. Tourists, when they go on holiday, they all leave their water consciousness behind. Normally consuming about twice the amount a normal inhabitant will do. In this way, a dry future will be a promise. But we think we want to use the benefit of the tourism instead of having them as a burden. Therefore, okay, we have come up with a solution. We are introducing the first circular water pavilion and game land, launching in Ameland and Vlieland. It's a place and an experience that you never experienced before. We pump to play and we mitigate and educate people about water overconsumption. First, we start with a solar-powered desalination system. This is to make people aware and getting them familiar with drinking from the sea. Secondly, we use state-of-the-art water technology to recycle and make people aware of completely recycling water. Thirdly, the water park lets users compete, creating their own water by pumping it, exercising it, and earning credit. This way, we catalyze water savings and we're mitigating peak overconsumption. We believe this immersive model will save significant costs and will be a financial, sustainable pavilion in just about 2 years. We believe that island tourism is the perfect springboard to tackle this problem. So let's dive into Gameland together and ensure and make water from abundance.
Thank you, Bram. Questions? Hein.
Okay, thank you for your presentation, very inspiring. I think it's very much about awareness, and I feel a lot about your presentation in that respect. Did you also thought a little bit about the economical feasibility of it, or how do you want to get it in place?
So what we think is that we want to use a Sanifair model. So like when you go to the gas stations on your holidays to France or Germany, you pay for your toilet visit, right? You get a coupon, you can use that for discount. So on Ameland you have Nes and the Strand Pavilion Sjoerd, which is the most sustainable strand pavilion in the Netherlands. So with this coupon you can pay for local produced products that are on the menu there. And also we want to have these, we have a demonstration place for unique startups to have their water innovations as a test place to directly test it with consumers. So they can pay for sort of a marketing fee or provide their system for reduced amount, so that over the year we can see that more people will buy and believe in innovation and buy it for the household. And thirdly, VTENs will reduce their cost on future expansion of current assets, like the power, their production stations, but also the pipeline coming from the north of Friesland going to the island. With climate change only becoming worse in the future, we think VTENs will probably need to increase their assets, but we want to reduce it by keeping water consciousness in the tourist's mind, to reduce their water footprint. The three of those revenue streams to, make it happen.
Yeah, good explanation. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Maybe online a question? I mean the jury online.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
As you may well know, these islands, most of the Dutch people and I think also tourists will be on their bikes. So I saw that your solutions, a few of them are at the beach side. Have you also considered to come up with something for all these cyclists?
Yeah, thanks for your question. When we came up with the solution, we realized that it's a very easily replicable and scalable solution as a immersive interactive center. So in this way, we're targeting the specific case we were asked to, the specific problem we were asked to solve is the overconsumption during peak time. So we figured the most amount of people during high season are on the beach. But of course, as a center, like a multi-pronged center with the technology and the facilities, it's easily put in any area of high traffic. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. One last question. Okay. No questions. Thank you, team number 3. And there's one team left, team number 1, with case owner program towards a rich Wadden Sea.
I'm Ron Wolters and I'm a student at Van Leeuwarden.
Hello, my name is Matthijs Koop and I'm a recent graduate from Wageningen University. Do you remember the first time that you took a ferry? I do. I would run up the deck, I would look around and would see the beautiful Wadden Sea, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Every day, thousands of people take a ferry to experience life on the Wadden Sea Islands. However, getting from A to B in that Wadden Sea, that's not so easy as it seems. The Wadden Sea is facing a problem. It's clogging up with sand, and dredging is needed to keep these ferries going. We all know that dredging is very bad for the environment. Well, the costs of it, well, they are getting very, very high in a very short time. Very short time. And besides that, the current mobility system is not ready for the future, as it is fully driven by fossil fuels. We believe it's time for the Wadden Sea to get a new vision when it comes to mobility. We introduce an interconnected system that integrates social, environmental, and economic drivers while preserving the natural identity of the islands. Let me give you a few examples. First, we want to introduce a sea bubble. Think of it like the Tesla on skis. It will be the water Uber of the future. Second, we want to introduce hydrogen hovercrafts. Our hovercrafts we call the floating Dutchman, because they're very silent due to the new technologies we are putting in. And thirdly, we introduce a cable car system, a system that preserves the natural landscape of the Wadden Sea. Imagine yourselves dangling above the mudflats with a 360-degree view while birds are passing over. I mean, can you believe it? We have a real chance here to introduce the first truly sustainable mobility system in a very special nature reserve. And therefore we ask you, do you dare to join us? Do you dare to get with us from A to B into the Wadden Sea?
Okay, thank you, Matthijs. Okay, who can I? Johannes, would you like to ask
Thank you
a
for a very interesting presentation with all kinds of ideas I never thought about before, so that is very innovative. And this idea of a cable car installed between the mainland and the islands, has this been researched before, or is this a brand new idea?
Thank you for the question. Well, there have been already some cable cars operating worldwide. So in Vietnam, for example, there's already a cable car going over the sea to an island. And we also got some information about a cable car system, or the idea of a cable car system in the Wadden Sea area. And it's important to note, as Matthijs also told you, that we really think of it as a new kind of cable car system. So it will be, for example, see-through, made of glass or of steel, so it will reflect the surroundings, and the pillars of the cable car system, they will add something to the environment. They will increase biodiversity due to something we come up with. So it's a bit different than worldwide, but it's also a bit similar.
Okay, because I had a question B as well. It's a very innovative approach, but the ecological impact of indeed these pillars and all, did you think about that indeed?
Yes, so therefore we really thought about it, that we don't want to damage the natural landscape, and we don't want to have a negative effect on the biodiversity. So these pillars won't be the ugly concrete pillars, but they will be very good looking. They have a great outside, a kind of skin made perhaps of wood, and also the part of the pillars that go under the sea, perhaps it can contribute to the undersea life of fish. So yes, we really thought about that.
Okay, thank you. Next question.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Henk.
Amazing suite of ideas, but you pose actually that this is a sustainable suite of solutions, while it actually has a lot of infrastructure investments and production. So there of course is a question on how do you measure the sustainability of all these solutions? That is one. And second, I must say there was a study that was presented in the beginning of this year for Ameland that also explored on the cable cars. So you can look into the study. It is called, I think, Ameland 2030, and it's about the mobility long-term solutions of Ameland. And it also does a deep dive into these type of solutions, so there is a lot. But I'd like to hear more about how you measure sustainability of this massive amount of infrastructure investment when you think about cable car.
Yes, I can answer that question. So first of all, the things we came up with, they will make sure that no dredging will be necessary, and yearly 7.5 million euros go to dredging. So that amount of money that will be available, that will become available for our solutions. And you are right that we need a gigantic amount of money for all the investments, but the cable car system, for example, it will, all our vehicles or modes of transportation, they will make use of renewable energy sources. And do you have anything to add? Oh, yes. So we also came up with the sea bubble and the hydrogen hovercraft, but also electric catamarans, and they are all not too deep, so therefore you don't need dredging. But the cable car system, it won't affect the water, so it will be outside of the, or like the cars will float above the World Heritage Site, so that therefore this kind of infrastructure will not really affect water transport by other boats. Yes, I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, and it's also the production of the system that has a footprint that is interesting to look into. And the second part, of course, is that these cable cars, they need little towers where the cables actually are there. Are you thinking about floating towers, which actually has been done before? So that is possible. So how would you envision that? And then I'll stop.
Hi, Henk. Well, we have been talking with some experts, Henk, and they said it would be possible in the near future to maybe do it with glass. So a type of special glass to make them like transparent. yeah, in that way we can still keep the natural landscape, and it does not really have a strong effect on the environment. At least that's what we understood of it. Another...
Have to be fixed. Yeah?
Sorry?
It needs to be fixed.
Yeah, it needs to be fixed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, another advantage of our cable cars is that it reduces the amount of normal cars on the islands, because it's for people way easier to get to there from A to B, and in that way you can see it as a sustainable alternative. Just wanted to add that.
Okay. Well, that were 2 questions with 2 sub-questions, so I think that makes 4. Thank you very much, team 1. Please go back. Yes, and the winner is, well, that is something the jury needs to decide. So you can, the people live here can move to the room, and the 3 people online, they will there with a Zoom connection. For now, we will announce it approximately 3:20, and now we have a short break till 2:30, and then we continue with the second part. Thank you for now.
Welcome everybody today to the Wetskills celebration of 10 years Wetskills. We've had, in the last 10 years, 45 Wetskills all over the world. In 23 countries we had a Wetskills. And this is the first one in Shanghai at May 27th in 2010. And since then, we can say every Wetskills was a great success, which had impact on all the participants and the partners and the host institutes. Monique Bekkenutte, our chair of the board of Wetskills, will tell a little bit more about the 10 years Jubilee celebration events.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you for your presentations. It was really amazing to see what you did achieve in this short period. So thank you so much to the teams. This year we celebrate 10 years of Wetskills, it's mentioned before. And we did that as well, besides the challenges, which we had 2 of them instead of 10 because of the corona crisis. That's very sad, but we hope to pick it up next year. But we are glad that we are here. But we did some things to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. We did it together with the Wetskills team members, so that was great. It was online. And then we had another celebration online as well with the alumni, this one. And we have a lot of alumni from all over the world. And one of the advantages to do this online is that more people can attend. So that was great to see each other again, even if it was online. And this afternoon, we share this with our partners worldwide. So they are looking right now at this moment to celebrate with you this event in Leeuwarden. So we are very glad to have them all here. So partners all over the world, thank you for joining in online. And now we go to the next presentation, I think, Johan.
Okay. The impact of Wetskills. Oh, this is the impact of Wetskills. Was not easy to make a clear answer to that. And we always show these figures. Well, you showed this already many times. So what I did, I created again a movie, and let's have a look at it.
Que nuestro romance acabaría.
Politicians be preachers, be believers, be leaders, be astronauts, be champions, standing in the Hall of Fame. And the world's gonna know your name. 'Cause you burn with the brightest flame. And the world's gonna know your name. You'll be on the walls of the Hall of Fame. You can be the great, you can be the best. You can be a chain car hanging on your chest. You can be a champ, you can beat the wall. You can be a jacket banging on the wall. You can be a champ, you can be the clock. You can move a mountain, you can break rocks. You can be a master, don't wait for luck. Then it be a jump and you can find your way standing in the Hall of Fame.
Look at real world problems that were brought to us by industry partners, and then the students in teams came up with solutions for those problems. So not only has there been pedagogical success, but as well, these solutions are actually moving forward within the water industry.
If you dye with bacteria, the quality of the clothes stay the same.
Why should we spill our valuable water into the sea? Let's just use it and make Oman greener.
So let's plant the seed of change together.
Let's do it.
Let's say Tel Aviv, you can official land.
For your perfect moment on the beach of Tel Aviv.
You can save the world by saving a drop of water.
Resilience starts with the valuing of water.
Water is a connector, uniting us all.
Let's build together.
Grow smart, grow together.
Protects you and your loved ones from parasites.
So, from raindrops to Wetskills to great jobs.
Good morning and welcome to the Wetskills Water Challenge.
Hi, it's Somi. I'm so glad that many people got together to show their passion for water and to share their thoughts about sustainable water use.
和水利署举办给第5届的水利青年营，今年报名的状况可以说是非常。
I really love this competition because you get to learn really many different kind of people.
水利署举办活动不仅让
Inhlangano lohlose kuphuma nesisombululo ngekuswelakala kwemali eNingizimu Afrika. Kungimanje-ke iNingizimu Afrika isebenzisana nelive laseLesotho kuqinisekisa ukuthi kutholakala imali lahlandekile kuleli.
This is the future of science. So if you're dreaming about opportunity, excitement, and your future, join the Wetskills revolution.
Yes, well, what is the core of Wetskills? People ask me the last 10 years many times, and I say, is it for participants? Is it for case owners? One time a guy told me, Johan, please write them down, and that's why we made actually 5 categories. First, more focusing on human capital. Second one, on the new innovation, the new ideas. The third, on the events, where we contribute. The fourth one is about creating new networks. And last but not least, also PR communication and water awareness. Yeah, and that human capital. Yeah, of course, there are the participants, like you guys. So they learn, they have a great experience, they learn how to work in international teams on real cases, for real clients, having contact with them directly. But also, the picture here, this is the Wetskills team. And as Charlie already explained before, also being a participant is totally different than being a supervisor. And joining the Wetskills team as supervisor, then you learn other skills. It's so valuable that employers even give time to do that. And last but not least, case owners, they learn as well. They need to come up with the challenge. They have a lot of things in their head, but they really need to structure it also for the participants to really go further with it. Second one, the cases. Wetskills is not just 1.5, 2 weeks, but there's a whole period before, the elaboration of the cases, the writing of the cases, creating the references. Of course, the elaboration, the brainstorming, looking for desktop studies in an intergenerational way with case owner and participants, and that's where the new ideas come. And third, afterwards, we try to follow up the most potential projects in our programs, so-called What's Next. Approximately 30% has a kind of follow-up. which could be a presentation, etc. 5 to 10% really comes into a kind of implementation, like in projects, or it comes in a tender, or it's really becoming, it's really built. Like these are 3 examples. The erosion blankets for the wetlands in Lesotho. Later on, my team member Pomelo Kontu will explain you more in the movie. We were involved in the creation of the flood-proof Romania testing facility for temporary embankments and innovations for water management. There is a sister in Delft, and they wanted to also bring that idea to Romania, and that has been established last year. And we are the role of the connectors. And the third one, the city blueprint was elaborated in Europe, and we helped them to also do this research for cities worldwide where we've been to. Input. Well, events, they all always comes to me, okay, Johan, yeah, we would like to have a young water professional, young talent voice. It could be the water conferences like the WISA in South Africa, Expo APA in Romania, or the Amsterdam International Water Week in the Netherlands, as well as the European Water Technology Week. We also had some special events like ministerial or even state visits from our royal couple, and events like the Olympics and the World Expo, where water and talents get the stage to come together and also to discuss with other professionals. It brings networks together. Creating networks. Well, the first one is academia to academia. Local, within the Netherlands, within Romania, within South Africa, but also between them. After Wetskills, several EU projects were established with the connections of Wetskills, like Saxion and the university, the Polytechnica in Romania. Also, MOUs were established with universities in Egypt, Canada, South Africa, and that projects came out of that. The second one, academia with the work field. Many talents, participants had got a job after Wetskills. Also, common research projects were there. And another, a follow-up was, for example, after South Korea, that Amsterdam and Seoul they integrated the water paragraph within their corporation. And the alumni are still in touch on social media. Well, and the communication, we've had Wetskills focus on new ways of presenting, the pitches, attractive posters. We use our social media, try to stimulate also external social media to speak about us. And we have ambassadors that really would like to create more water awareness. Like we have our ambassador Somi, K-pop star in Korea, with a tweet with more than 100,000 views last year. And Kiran, the Olympic surfer, is also a new ambassador for our program. Well, worldwide, we focus on the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. But where is Wetskills in? Of course, we integrate talents, and then we create an enabling environment to work out ideas in an intergenerational way. But looking to the SDGs, the 17, the first one, water, that's really in our core. Wetskills. Second one, it's more the methodology that we use. A new way of education. Equal rights, respect to each other. The third one is the cases, the alignment of towards other SDGs, that the cases determines that. For example, energy or live on land, live in sea, cities. And last but not least, creating new networks to really implement the SDGs. Well, Wetskills is proud of what we have achieved so far. We would like to continue, especially after Corona, but also now, with young talents, with events worldwide, with all our partners that we got. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Johan, for these great examples of what Wetskills has done in the past 10 years. And we will go to our keynote lecture of Henk Ovink. And Henk Ovink has made a lot of impact in the world for water himself. He's a special envoy for international water affairs, but he's also an ambassador for Wetskills. And he has been since 2015, and he has attended approximately 15 Wetskills in the past 5 years. And he has done jury work, but also talking to the teams and helping them, creating new ideas. And he's also helping us as Wetskills, as an ambassador, how to move forward with our task in the world. So Henk, I would like to give you the floor. And you're going to do this online. And I think you're going to share your screen with us. So please go ahead.
Yeah. Does it work? It does. Thank you so much. This is a little bit crazy, so far away, talking about water, but it's also very important. And we see the world in one picture and one snapshot taken already in 1972, not only seeing its vulnerability, but also its amazing water capacity. But now we're in the middle of a pandemic that is hitting everybody everywhere. And there's a direct relationship between water and this pandemic. We can't go back to normal, although parts of the world, parts of the vested interests are actually pulling us back. Secretary General Guterres says this is a time for science and solidarity. And I couldn't agree more. By facts, but also through empathy. We need both sides of that coin desperately if we want to move forward. And the pandemic, of course, hits the most vulnerable hard. I put together this crazy map of the world where you see climate, gender, water, conflict, slums, GDP gap, health, etc. crisis aggregated. And then you see where a pandemic hits our world the hardest. It's not in Africa that we're most vulnerable, or in Central Asia, where in Africa an average age of a little over 19, in Gaza a little over 17, where population in itself are not that vulnerable to this pandemic, but it's the aggregation of crisis that makes us actually more vulnerable. And we created this crisis. It is on us. There's a direct link between nature and the pandemic. And if you look at the biodiversity loss, it is actually in our faces. A direct link between climate change and the coronavirus, both in its origin as well as in the impact. So the call for climate leadership that the youth, where the Wetskills youth is part of, has been calling upon us as global leaders, partners around the world, is as prominent and necessary now as it was when this pandemic started. But we can't do this anymore. There's no 1.5. I don't see any chords in the crowd here. Do you, Johan? And if they are, they just lost the 1.5 meter competition. And we see years like in 2018 with flood strikes and wildfires, in 2019 with refugees and typhoons and hurricanes. Houston, we have a problem, we say. But look at this picture. White male, 50 plus, looking at computer screens. Well, the future should be in your hands, and in the hands of the Wetskills generation. And I just picked some of the images from the internet. I could have picked many, many more. But it's not enough to ask the youth. And they can't solve the problems we create. We have to do it together. And my generation can't outsource the problems we created to the young. But we have to do this in an inclusive way. And it starts with understanding. And I think the whole Wetskills part of the competition is, of course, ensuring that we come up with solutions that stick, that make difference, that are sustainable, innovative, catalytic, that we can use. But the way they are organized and presented also is about awareness and understanding. Now, understanding comes by science, like the IPCC tells us how important the climate crisis is for the way we plan our economies, our agriculture. The way we work with our NDC promises, and the impact floods and droughts have on our societies. Because if we look at the world from a water perspective, floods and droughts are hitting everywhere, but only the most vulnerable are hit hardest. So you see top of the slides where they are hitting, and bottom of the slides who is hit hardest. The most vulnerable in the worst places on this planet are hit hardest by this pandemic, by floods and droughts across, causing migration, conflicts, and uncertainties. And then it's in cities where we live, build up our economies, and where things come together, and also where this climate crisis is actually bursting. It's the cities that are the hotspots of these risks. From a financial point of view, because a lot is at stake, but also from a humanitarian point of view, because it's in the slums, in the most vulnerable places, across the world, in the developing world and in the developed world, where the most vulnerable are hit hardest by the crises that come upon us. Water and health, the pandemic could not be a better example, but also water and the environment. If we see the biodiversity decline, poor water quality and infrastructure investment in our waters across the world is causing devastating harm to our ecosystems. So there is a disconnect between the past and the future. A disconnect in the way how we invested until now in our built environment and the challenges that we face. There is, until this day, a business case for stupid infrastructure. And that business case has to go off the table. Investing in non-sustainable infrastructure should be forbidden. There should be a no-go towards that. But because we only calculate the financial economic flows, we lose out on society, the most vulnerable, and our ecology, our environment, and biodiversity. Not for nothing did we agree on 17 sustainable development goals, not to cherry pick from, but as a holistic, comprehensive agenda. Not for nothing did we put 1.5 degree in the Paris Agreement, not as an ambition, but as an achievable goal, a promise we put on the table we have to stick to. Business as usual is becoming lethal across the world. We see it in Afghanistan, we see it in the context of this pandemic in places like Bangladesh, where typhoons are hit and evacuating people becomes a risk for everybody. So, instead of non-responsive, stupid infrastructure investments from the past, we have to move towards very proactive, comprehensive solutions that are inclusive and sustainable and will build resiliency and climate action for the future. And the step in between is reactive, moving from crisis to crisis, temporary solving what is there. But that is not enough. It only gives us band-aid approaches. And as we see now with the pandemic, the first response is reactive. The second is non-responsive. Bloomberg News calculated that 99% of all our recovery funding across the world is going to non-sustainable infrastructure, coming from vested interests across the world. And that is not only scaring, it is lethal, and we should shy away from it immediately. That means almost that the focus is on projects, but it's not. The focus should be on people, on the process, on engagement, on the enabling environment, because That is how we can build a consistent, continuous, collaborative way where capacity building and enabling environment and cross-cutting innovative solutions can come from. It's investing in the process. The millions we need to invest in the people, in capacity, that ensures that we can invest the billions and trillions in the right way. Now, the economists say it, maximize opportunities by investing upfront in the process will create opportunities that even have a higher performance. But if you lack that, you end up with stupid infrastructure and a higher cost and a lower return on those investments. World Economic Forum tells us that these interdependencies are actually the pathway towards a sustainable future. And that means that water is the connector across the sustainable development goals, showcasing the pathway towards a sustainable future. That means we have to look at the long term, but comprehensively, and connect those long-term plans to short-term innovative solutions in a way that is inclusive by collaboration, but also transparent for accountability and ensuring business cases that actually are sustainable. Only by bringing that together, the long-term and the short-term, the inclusive process in the transparent way of calculating, you build up institutional and individual capacity. And bringing that together is critically important for moving the way forward. Now, I'll skip this. To get there, we need to build up trust. Trust is critically important and lacking. Like empathy, trust is critically important. And how do you build up trust in a world where there's a lock-in between past vested interest and future sustainable needs? Because it seems like these opposites that don't attract. And for that, we have to create time and space in the process of investing in each other. In science and academia, we call this soft spaces. Al Mending and Houghton, soft spaces as places to invest in each other. I call it in my practice safe places. Places you create in a process where, like in Wetskills, you can invest in each other, in understanding each other's cultures, its needs, each other's interests, and by that understanding, create opportunities to invest in. A safe place where it's about collaboration and not negotiation, where talent can really meet talent from the diversity that we have. And an inclusion is not a ticks the box, but is actually a culture. In my work around the world, I tend to create these parallel processes that are connected to the formal disconnect or lock-in we have to maximize opportunities, build partnerships and coalitions, and spur innovative action. Now, just because of time, I will skip part of this because I want to end in saying that if we invest in people, if we invest in spending time together, if we focus on those sustainable development goals as a full agenda and the 1.5 degree, we can come to solutions like with Wetskills that we can replicate and scale up and reinvent the past for the future. I did it in New York with Rebuild by Design. We do it now in Asia with Water as Leverage. And we see that is actually an opportunity for the actions we need. I do want to show that I had the building where you are now all in my presentation to make sure that I'm pretty much aware where you are, but I won't show the examples, but I'll end. If we invest in each other, in these long-term strategies and short-term innovative collaborative processes, is it enough? No. Putting our money, our attention, our energy and effort, and the hearts and the minds in is critically important. But it is and it will never be easy. There are no silver bullets for a sustainable future. Everywhere, every time, with everybody, You have to reinvent it over and over again. That is the most inspiring thing there is. While challenging, this is the best thing you have. You yourself, in the partnership, in your friendships that you build, are the best opportunity this world brings. It's a necessity, and water is part of that. Too much, too little, and too polluted. Like Secretary General Guterres said, we have to step up our efforts. We have to step up our efforts now because we must change course now. I'll end with these two little girls from Samara in Indonesia. And look at the little one. She wears a cap, and it says future doctor. And that means she wore the cap for a reason. The first reason is that she wants to go to school, and she wants to become a doctor. The second is that she wants to, as a doctor, be able to take care of people. Talking about empathy and science. She is Secretary General Guterres' dream. But thirdly, she has a dream. She believes in a future where it's worthwhile taking care of people. And she wants to invest in that future now. We better invest with her in that sustainable future. And it's on you, in the partnership with us, to get there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Henk, for your call for action, because as you said, doing nothing is lethal. We need to do something and get into action for the water problems in our world. And the water problems need to be solved also locally, because you need to adapt to the local circumstances. And that is where Johan Oost is going to talk about with our case owners and our partners, how they experienced the Wetskills that they were in and what they learned from the solutions that came out of the Wetskills. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Jantine. Also, thank you, Henk, from my side. Well, we will have an interview. We will have an interview with partners from previous events. I hope that there are 3 online. I hope that we can see them. And I would like to, we also have one live. Simon, please join the stage. So, I would like to have a short discussion or interview with Ellen Vijver. She's from UNESCO IHE. Ellen Bolleweide, she's from Water Authority Rijn and IJssel. Also involved in the Blue Deal Colombia. And Paul Buys from the King Abdullah University of Science and Technology, and he was CEO of Bersel UV, where we met many times. And Simon Thijsma, he's from the province of Friesland. Can I see the pictures? Because, yes. Ellen, can I start with you? Ellen Vijver. Yeah, that's when you invite 2 Ellens. Ellen, do you hear me? What did you see?
Yes, I hear you well.
Yeah, you saw the picture of you with last year. You were a case owner for 2 cases in Wetskills in the Netherlands. Well, what did we see on the picture?
Actually, I did not see the picture, but I think it was a group that worked on a question for water quality management in a rural village setting in Eastern Africa, specifically in Tanzania. And I think that was the group in the hallways of our institute, where they not only found a nice place to work, but also caught all sorts of experts in the interview, in the cafeteria, on the way to an office. People stopped by to provide expertise. So it was quite an interactive case.
Great. And yeah, maybe, well, about the results, we spoke before. What did you do?
Well, maybe I should start the other way around. What to me these cases actually were, or what gave me the idea to cases. Yeah. And that is that I work in a field where we are very often concentrated on projects, and project these days means that one has to present a very clear problem and then provide very clear ideas how to solve it with very specific deliverables. But to be honest, if you work in settings like rural Africa, problems like how to deliver the SDGs on the last mile, a lot of things are not clear at all. There are all sorts of problems mixed together, both locally or because too many problems intersect. But there is a definition of efficiency and accountability right now that rarely gives us the chance to say, okay, let's just sit down and think through what is actually part of the problem, what could be part of the solution. And to me, the Wetskills cases was an opportunity to just present two of the most complex, messy problems that I encountered in my daily work and just put them in front of two groups of young people and say, why don't we just think about that for a few days and see what what could be part of a solution? How do we start to address this? Now, thematically, just in one sentence, one, as I said, was how can we approach water quality in a contained remote rural setting in Africa without infrastructure, without chemicals, without laboratories, without experts. And the other thing was to look into transformative changes for subsistence agriculture, again, for remote isolated areas, especially when climate change changes what can be done based on traditions.
And well, what the added value of Wetskills? Did you go further with the ideas of where the teams came up with?
Yes, actually a lot. So for the first one, more for the question of water quality for the subsistence agriculture, we have some ideas. But for this first idea, the Wetskills group came up with, with a concept of the dirty water playbook, they called it, which we liked very much. So we really kept this idea. And also started to conceptualize solutions along a certain rural water chain that is universal, but then could there be a puzzle of different techniques that might be part of a solution? And we are still working with this concept. So we have a master's student who did an expert analysis for different techniques that could be done. We are just now having a think shop to develop this further. And the result that we are expecting very soon is actually a very short decision tree-based guidance for non-water people who work in rural settings and are just confronted with these water quality issues that might have an impact on agriculture, on health, on gender, on all sorts of other issues. And say, okay, how can you actually very briefly and without reading 1,000-page manuals find your way to knowledge and solutions that could function in your environment? Plus also we are also building a demonstration water pan in a village called Ketasakwa in Tanzania, where we actually try to, in practice, see what a different type of water pan could look like.
Great. Well, thank you for this this talk. May I go to Paul? Paul Buys? Are you there?
Yes.
Great. Welcome. Paul, maybe you can shortly introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Paul Buys. Like Johan said, I used to be not the CEO, but managing director of Burson UV. I think in my Burson days, I did like 4 sessions with Wetskills. And with Kaust, I did 1. So I keep coming back to Wetskills, basically.
And why?
Well, it's quite simple. First of all, I think it's our responsibility to share our experience. Yeah, I'm more than 30 years in the water business, so I think I have something to share. And it's just also fun to do. It is fun to get the insights from young people who don't have the burden of a 30-year experience, who will ask you the questions that we old guys don't dare to ask anymore. One of the examples was in Iran, for instance. The water industry and governments everywhere, they are scared of water reuse. They're also scared of talking about water reuse in countries where that might be a religious objection. Our students didn't mind. They went on the streets in Tehran and they just asked the people, would you be adverse to water reuse? And the people in Iran, they know about the water scarcity. And the surprising answer was that the majority of the people were not adverse to water reuse at all.
No.
So that really helps. Just the old dogmas we embrace, they are just put aside by the young people who are not brought up with the same dogmas.
And about what happened with Wetskills, well, they came up with cases. You won, for example, in, I thought it was in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
With your team. What did it do? Did you went further with the cases, or did it had other benefits like had communication or network?
The strange thing was that the winning case was not the case we pursued further.
Oh, others maybe?
Yeah. I think certainly Romania had follow-up. There was some follow-up in South Africa as well, but that's not why we did it, actually. Yeah. So our wins were not the direct wins in the countries itself. So we had great wins by getting better contacts, for instance, with the Dutch water boards. So and that really helped us. It really helped us establishing a testing facility in Eindhoven, very close to our factory. So in that sense, Wetskills is also a very nice platform just to use the national network.
Great. Thank you, Paul. I would like to continue with Ellen Bolleweide. Oh yeah, that's the winning team of Paul. Yes. Next slide. Ellen. We several times discussed the methodology of Wetskills, also for the blueprint. After we cooperated for Colombia. Maybe you can explain what we discussed and why you are so enthusiastic.
Yeah, well, maybe I should introduce a little bit what is Blue Deal Colombia about. Blue Deal is, in fact, a collaboration program between the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the other Ministry of Infrastructure and Water, and the Dutch water authorities. And we have programs all around the world now, I think some 15, and Colombia is one of them. The program in Colombia is called Inspire Agua. That means water inspires. And that's what our program all is about. In fact, as Henk Ovink also told, in Colombia and in many countries, there's a lot of infrastructure that doesn't function very well. A lot of programs, plans which are not implemented. So that's where we focus on in the collaboration. And this is all about working together as professionals from Colombia and from Netherlands. And in fact, we also like to introduce young employees of our water authorities in this kind of partnerships. So that's where Wetskills comes in. And last year we had a fantastic Wetskills event in Cartagena, where also some cases out of our program were cases during Wetskills. And we had some young participants of our water authorities, with also students from the Netherlands and also participants of our partners in Colombia. They were also working together on inventing new ideas for having for really having functioning infrastructure and really being able to implement plans. So that's a bit of the context. It's all about inspiration. That suits perfectly with Wetskills.
Yeah, and I heard a story that one of the participants now is also involved in the Blue Deal program. How come?
Yeah, well, that's in fact how we look at this. Wetskills is like you always call that pressure cooker, Johan.
Yeah.
So these young professionals are in their first experience in Colombia. They learn really how to make this work in just 2 weeks. So define the problem and make the solution just in 2 weeks. And they experience a bit how a mission with a water authority in our program can be. So some of them never come back again because they don't like it. Others are fascinated and become one of our most enthusiastic members. And they also make our other participants more enthusiastic. First experience.
The young alumni you use in the Blue Deal program to become expert and really... Yeah. So you did it also on a strategy basis, or is it just luck?
Yeah, this is just a strategy. Yeah, this is for us being able to select which people are very able to work in our program. Yeah.
Great, thank you very much, Ellen. Last but not least, Simon. Simon, you're the only one that is... You want on the screen? No. Yeah, there's Ellen. Yes. Simon, what do we see here?
I don't know. It's I think this the celebration of the Wetskills competition in Korea.
Yeah.
Last September, I think.
What impact does Wetskills have to you and your organization?
I don't know what kind of. Yes, we are working on water for a long time here in Friesland. Maybe I can introduce it a little bit in this way. Together with Erik and Jeanette, we were in the beginning of all the plans on water. Now we are in the Wetsus area, but when we started, this river was the most polluted river of the Netherlands. At that time, I was teacher at the Van Hal Institute, and they said to me, if you jump in the water, you will be solved before you reach the bottom. That polluted the water was, and it was only that deep. Now, that's 20 years ago. We started with these things on water, more than 20 years ago. And now we opened a beach on the same river, 20 years later. So this is, I think, very important to show the people the transition. What I think, what's very important, you can't achieve these goals by doing one thing and go from one point to another point. So you need a portfolio on projects. And Wetskills adds something to our portfolio on projects.
So
and now our team, probably they are the winner, but they are they are already the winner because they have an invitation from the councillor of the island of Ameland to present their ideas about Gameland. So they are already, I think they are already a winner. And it's, as Charlie showed us, it's not linear. It's always outside of the bars. And I can't say I learned from Wetskills this, and this, but it puts something to the ingredients and makes the soup better.
But when you are discussing with the young participants, what does that to you?
I learned. So we did a lot on water, and one thing we did on water was doing a race with solar boats. And we had an ambassador for the solar boats. His name was Wubbo Ockels. He was a former astronaut, and he went to space, and he always said, you can see in space 2 buildings built by the people. That's the Chinese wall, and that's the enclosure there. But I learned from him, and because he was a little bit older than I was, and I learned from him, if you involve students, you have competitions, and you have a lot of fun, especially a lot of fun, you will get the best from the people. And I think that's important. And that's one way Wetskills adds as a method to our portfolio of projects.
Yeah, one more question. When I ask Somi, what are you going to tell then?
Yeah, when I ask Somi, actually, I'm in touch with the cousin of Guus Hiddink, Frank Hiddink. He's very popular in Korea. Somi is even more popular in Korea, but she has Frisian ancestors. from Heerenveen. But Ban Ki-moon will come to the Netherlands in January, and we try to arrange a Korean party when it's possible, of course, with the corona, and invite her back again.
Great. Okay. Jantien? Yes. I see the time is up. Well, shall I start the movie?
No, well, just wait a second.
Okay.
And I will start it. Thank you for showing us the impact on what the Wetskills can do for case owners and partners of Wetskills. And now we will have a short movie of Pomelo Kuntu, who is working at the Ministry of Water in Lesotho, and he's going to talk about the impact that the What's Next made on Lesotho. Okay.
I was one of the participants in South Africa 2018, where we had also, as the Department of Water Affairs in Lesotho, submitted a case on transboundary basin management, which is, we have one of the biggest rivers in Africa and the biggest in Southern Africa, which forms a basin that comprises 4 countries, which is Lesotho, South Africa, Botswana, and Namibia. So we as Lesotho are upstream, hence we are known as the water tower of the Southern Africa. So we thought about creating a win-win situation in terms of managing this huge base. Since we as Lesotho, this is where all the water comes from. But we are experiencing a huge challenge of trying to manage the water resources. So, as I was saying, most of the land degradation is happening here in Lesotho. So we are losing a lot of soil, and also the water resources are getting depleted. So we posed a question in South Africa on how can the downstream riparians, which are the 3 other countries, influence the situation upstream by assisting in the management of the water resources. So as one of the cases in the South Africa edition, we were able to get some solutions which were both long-term and short-term. And one of the long-term solutions was to invest in research and education for the youth in Lesotho, since they are the ones who are close to the wetlands, and some of them even actually live in those areas. So the next one was to involve intensively the farmers in the planning of the management as well as the implementation in managing this water resources. And as a short-term solution, we were advised to also look into the installation of erosion blankets. This would promote the collaboration between these countries from the level of communities. So the idea was to have these erosion blankets made in South Africa by the community. So that would be just buying the material, and then they would be woven by the South African community. And then they would be sent to Lesotho in these areas, and then they would be also installed there by the communities in Lesotho. So we were trying to create a collaboration for starters between South Africa and Lesotho. So after these solutions were proposed, we formed a transboundary watershed team between the youth who were part of the Wetskills South African participants and Lesotho's participants, and also other participants who were involved in the case. So after forming that team, we tried to find ways of putting the plans in motion. But as we wanted to first pilot this solution, we as Lesotho procured the erosion blankets from a company in South Africa. And then we had them installed here in Lesotho, I think last year in September. So this is where they were implemented in a district called Mokotlo. This is the district where actually the Orange Senku River actually starts. So there are a lot of wetlands up there. So we installed these blankets in the gullies in Mokotlo, and one of the major wetlands there around it, where we were now seeing bare patches of soil, that is where the erosion starts. So we installed these blankets there. And then this year, January, we went back to check on the results and see how the blankets are doing. So as the first results, we could now see the vegetation, since the blankets were able to hold on to the soil. And then now more of the vegetation was growing in the gullies as well as inside the wetlands. As you can see, we had already made some small stone lies to trap the soil, so as to assist the blankets themselves. So now we can see some more vegetation. So the plan is to have, after getting these results, and we'll have the second batch of monitoring, where we will now look further, maybe 6 months later, 9 months later again, to see how our results are coming along. And if we are satisfied, we will be rolling this out to the rest of the country where there seems to be more severe degradation. And we are hoping to do that within our integrated catchment management program. So this is how Wetskills has helped us a lot as Lesotho, and one of the solutions has been implemented, and it's working well for us here. Thank you.
This was a great example of how Wetskills even has impact afterwards within the What's Next program. But now it is time for the winner. And I will invite Hein Molenkamp, the board member, the president of the board, especially of the jury today, to announce the winner. But first, maybe you can tell a little bit why you chose as a jury. Let's go here.
1.5 meter was the rope. Okay.
We don't need a rope.
Yeah, I want to start with first to say I have also been a little bit younger some years ago, and I know how it feels to go on stage. And I still feel sometimes how difficult it is to be on stage, and I really felt the tension, and that is beautiful to see. If you are standing there, it's very difficult, but at the end you have to keep on doing that, and it will become better and better. And I saw it with all the participants. So, and it is not a bad thing to experience that as well, isn't it? But you only feel it if you go standing there. If you prepare it, I'll go do that, and then once you're there, it's quite difficult. And we saw that as well, but that's okay. So I think that's good to understand that experience you need. I always also want to thank the jury. So me and Johannes, we are here live, but we also have the 3 other participants, maybe still on board, I hope so, but we did it all together, and that's why we had quite a hard time to figure out, well, who is the winner here, isn't it? It's not only about the presentation, it's also about content, and it's all about those 5 things with innovativeness, out-of-the-box thinking, feasibility, technical, but also is it economical, attractive? So those are all different things to combine, of course. Social, environmental context, we heard a lot about it as well, very important. The quality of the pitch and the poster, so it all mingles, and then I want to make it a little bit.
Yeah, I know, but it's fair. They're nervous.
We did a difficult thing to decide who is the best, but there is only one being the winner, and we decided to take the winner is Circular Water Pavilion.
Come forward, team.
That's the team of Marvin Auma.
Can you move forward,
Bram
please,
Berkelmans and Lauren Popey.
Will you hand over,
let's
Hein?
see the
Shall I
teams.
take the... You can hand over the...
Yeah, go stand here, isn't it? That's better. You need to...
Lay down.
I will keep the 1.5 meter, but it is the winning board for the whole team, of course. So, and
Hein, keep the distance.
For the real picture.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I hope, and that counts for all of you, that you keep on the pace of being creative and think outside of the box. And that's all you have to do. And we heard Henk talking about it. It's very important, of course, that we keep on creating new things.
Small present also for the winning team members. Congratulations. And one more. Congratulations with your first place today. And
yeah, I think that's about it.
If you have a word of thanks, that's possible.
A word, say, what is it a surprise, guys?
I think we all worked very hard this couple of 10 days. It was a shorter Wetskills version than normally. Normally it's 2 weeks, and we all been in an intense pressure cooker, but had a fun week of keeping distance, but having fun together. It was amazing to get all of you to get to know each other and have a really fun and educated week.
Well, thank you all then. Thank you, Hein.
And thanks to the case holders as well, the case owners. This is province of Friesland, but also the other 2 case owners. It's very important, of course, that we keep on going and getting more of these type of pressure cookers. Eh?
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for being here today at our celebration event and the Wetskills finals. And I hope you enjoyed it today. I certainly did. And let's work together on the next Wetskills. Thank you all.
Come back. Okay.